Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Danny, this is Crafty D Sculpting. In this week's video we're doing Jeff the Land Shark from Marvel Rivals. Anyone's played the game then yeah, you're well aware of Jeff the Land Shark is. And yeah, this one nearly broke me. I know he looks easy, but in all honesty this is probably one of the hardest ones that I've had to do so far. Yeah, it really put my skills to the test. Nearly quit a few times. But yeah, we persevered, we got there in the end. I'm not 100% happy with the way it turned out. Some of these proportions are a little bit out, but let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. If you're new here, it'd be great if you could like and subscribe to the video. It really does help me out on the algorithm, gets the videos shown a lot more than if you wasn't to like and subscribe. But apart from that, guys, before we get into the video, just like to say we're nearly at 500 subs. And for those that already know the channel, at 500 subs, I'm giving away one of my sculptures. So we're about 17 subscribers away. So yeah, guys, come on, let's get them numbers up. And as soon as I hit that 500, I'll be announcing a winner. On one of yous will be getting sent one of my sculptures. But anyway, without further ado, let's head over into the video. Hope you enjoy. Take care for now. And as per usual, we're going to be starting off with the armature wire, and these are the two main wires that I'm going to be using. We've got a 3mm armature wire for the main part of the body. We've got a 1mm wire which we're going to use for a bit more support and just something for the clay to grab onto, and we do use a floral wire as well. But at the moment we're going to get the 3mm wire, we're going to cut a piece off for the actual body and two bits for the legs, and the ones for the legs we're just going to bend around just so they lock into place as such. That's one of them done. Now time for the second one. Just using the pliers just to grip them in place, and there we go, twisting it around and we have some legs and a body. Voila. Right, next we're moving on to some floral wire, and all we're going to do with this is we're just going to lock in the legs to the body to start off with. As you can see, we're just going to crisscross either side of the legs on the body and just continuously work it around until everything's locked into place. Right, there we go, going around one way and then going back around the opposite way, and then making sure that's all tucked in so we don't stab ourselves on it later. Right, now we've done both legs, we are going to move on to a 1mm wire, and we're just going to go all the way up and down the legs and the body just for the clay to get a grip onto later on. As you can see, we've done the body, now we're working down one side of the leg. We can trim that off and we can do the other side. There we go. Right, now that's done, we can work on to bulking out the body. Now for bulking out the body, we're going to use some of our tin foil or aluminium foil, and we're just going to literally wind it around, squeezing as much air out as we can. We don't want to put too much on, just enough to basically bulk out the skeleton. And we do use a little bit more floral wire just to secure that into place, as you can see there. Right, now I think I made a bit of a poor choice on this, but we used Super Sculpey. Now this one isn't that firm, it's quite soft, and yeah, I'll live to regret this later on, as because we bulked him out quite a bit and we didn't actually pre-bake him, he cracked quite a bit. But now we're moving on to the tail part, and as you can see, what I've done is I've got two bits of the 1mm and I've wound them round in a drill just to give it a bit of extra stability. And as you can see, we're just going to work the general shape of a towel and then get the far end of that wire and then just wrap it around the end of the body. I'll get my hands out of the way, you might be able to see. But there we go. Happy days. Right, we can get a little bit of clay onto that now. I'm only going to do the back end of the towel. I don't actually do the main part of the towel, as I use cosplay for that later on, as we don't really want to break it. But yeah, as you can see, just getting bits and pieces and just bulking it out bit by bit until we're happy with the actual shape. Don't forget, guys, leave us a like, it really does help. And as you can see, we're just getting that all added in where we need, bulking out the legs a bit. Looks a bit like a puppy or a dog, this one. So yep, just generally taking that for my inspiration and looking at my own dog and how the legs work. And bulking out the front leg as well. Now around where the feet are, we do cut them back later and use cosplay for that as well. But as you can see, just adding on more and more as we need it, until we're happy with the shape. Right, there we go. Now we've done that, now the head caused me an absolute headache. Took about 3 or 4 different attempts at it, and I had to literally put it down for 2 or 3 days, walk away from it and then come back. But as you can see, I don't think this was the final time I've done the head. Yeah, I might get it into the actual shot, but as you can see, we worked out the rough shape of it and then done it in 2 parts and worked it in. We do fill out the mouth a little bit more later on, just backfill that with a bit more clay. But yeah, as I said, I really did struggle with the head on this one. As you can see, it is coming together, we're getting that general shape all together. Once we've done that, we can then start bulking out the top of his head. Just getting bits of clay and just bulking everything out as we need. Again, my camera skills do need some work. I will get there in the end one day. Maybe if anyone's got any tips, leave me a comment below and we can have a chat about it. But there we go, we've got the general shape of his head now, and we're just going to be adding more and more on, because the more I look at it from different angles, the more I realise I was missing certain bits. But as you can see, we're just adding more on as we need. You can always remove it if you add too much. Anyway, for now, we'll come back to that later. We're just going to move on to the teeth now, and as you can see, we've just got a bit of cosplay, flattened it out in the pasta maker, cut it to size, and then just snipping away at the teeth. Right, now we've done that, we can make an eye, and I've just cut a ball of clay so we've got an equal size, and a bit of parchment paper in a ceramic dish, and that goes in the oven. And now we're going to move on to some red clay for his mouth. Well, we've got a bit of red mixed in with a little bit of white, and we're just going to lace that on the inside of the mouth just to make sure that we've got the right colour in there, because getting a paintbrush in there later on will be impossible. But now we've done that, we're going to move on to the eyes. As you see, I pre-baked the eyes earlier, so now we're just getting a ball stylus and we're just digging out where the eyes are going to go. We're going to push them into place before getting a wormadilly of clay, and we're going to wrap it around the outside. Make it a little bit too short to start off with. Well, let's re-roll it out. There we go, that's better. Right, so now we've done that, we're just going to smush it all into place. As you can see, I've got a little bit of the red clay worked into the body as well there. And now we've got all that done, we're going to use this spoon tool just to push out a bit of clay that made it in too much into the eye. And now we've done that, moving on to the tongue. Again, I used the pinky clay for that, what I had left over, and we're just going to literally squish the back end of that into place. Again, you're not going to be able to see into his mouth once you've got all the teeth in. There we go. He's getting his puppy look now. Now with the teeth, they were obviously pre-baked, and they are very, very fragile at this rate, and I did actually break a few trying to do this. Even though it was cosplay, and that does remain slightly flexible, because it's so thin, it does actually still have quite a bit of brittleness to it. Accidentally knocked the tongue there, so working that out. And he's looking good now. So at this stage, we're just about to rebake him. As you can see, I've cut off around the feet and cut off the tail. But now we're just going to put some isopropyl alcohol on him before sticking him in the oven. Now, as I said, I did have a nightmare with this. He did start cracking, and he did crack down the side of his mouth once we got him out of the oven. So just bear that in mind. And I did have to repair it later on, see, that's why you can't actually see it there. But we're now moving on to his feet, and we're using cosplay for this. And now we've got a bit of cosplay worked in, we can start working on the detail. And we're just going to use this silicone wedge tool, just to put the crease in around where his ankle's going to be, and then working in his toes. Right, now we've got where his toes are going to be. We're now going to get a ball stylus and work out where his nails are going to go. We're just going to gently push in 4 little divots before getting tiny bits of clay, working them with our fingers and thumbs, and then putting them into place. There we go, simple as that. So there's 2 done so far. We're going to get the other 2 done, and then we can work on with his back legs. There we go. We haven't got to worry about all that messiness on the underneath of him there. As you can see, you're not going to see that later on when he's on his base, because he is going to get glued down. Right, there we go, coming along nicely. But once we've got his feet done, we're going to move on to his towel. And again, we've already got the general shape that we need with our armature wire. And we're going to smush everything into the body and then cut off any excess that we don't need. There we go, it's all come into shape now. Starting to look more like a shark. A weird shark at that, but a shark nonetheless. Right, now for his dorsal fin, we're just going to drill into the top of the body. There we go, 2 little pilot holes drilled, and now we can put in the wire and we can coat that in more cosclay. Following the same way we've done it the other way, we're just going to get it in over the actual armature wire and then cut off any excess that we don't need and then squish it into the body. As you can see, we've got our knife there again, just cutting off what we don't need before working on his collar. Now again, I've just put this through the pasta machine. We're using a little bit of liquid clay just to make sure that it all sticks in place when he gets baked. And again, the camera skills are rubbish. I wouldn't mind, but I do have a monitor right next to me, so I should be able to see what I'm doing, but I never really look at it. But there we go, there's his collar, and because of his actual stance, you're not going to actually see his name tag, which I was going to put underneath, but because of his stance, I don't make it. But yeah, we're going to move on to the base. So we've cut out a couple of these pieces, stuck them together, and now we're going to use some liquid clay, or the end of the bottle of this one. I'll just scrape it all out. And we're just going to put a nice coating of liquid clay all the way around the wood. Once you've got that coating on, we are then going to move that drill bit. First of all, we're going to get a nice thick bit of clay and work it all the way around until you can't see any of the wood. It doesn't have to be pretty, because as you can see, what we're going to be doing is basically one of these water portals, or whirlpool. So we're just going to go round and round and round with a ball stylus. As you can see there, nice and roughly, doesn't have to be pretty, just get it in, work it into place. And we're going to get rid of all the rough edges in a moment, but for now we're just going to work all the way around, all around the edges until it looks a bit like this. Now we're just going to get some more isopropyl alcohol and smooth everything off and get rid of any fingerprints. And as my missus said, it looks like a meringue. Right, once that's been in the oven, we can work on some paint. Now we did get some cracking into this, you'll see in a moment, but yeah, we're going to go around with various different blues. We started with an ultramarine blue and then started getting lighter and lighter, doing it in a swirly pattern as we go around until we're almost white. Now with the actual white itself, we're dry brushing this bit on just to make it look like there are waves crashing. As we do say, this is sort of a bit of a whirlpool. And as you can see right there, that's where it cracked, and some more there as well, and I've done that about 4 or 5 times. But yeah, once we finish that, we can move on to painting Jeff himself. Now as you can see, this paint doesn't really want to go on very nicely, so we do actually have to give him 2 or 3 coats of paint. But once he's done, we can move on to his eyes, which we're just doing in a generic black, and we do coat that over later on with a bit of UV resin. There we go, there's one eye done. Move on to the other one before getting the pink done on his collar. And again, once that's done, we can move on to his striping on his back. And again, I'm not doing it perfect, I'm just doing it how I see fit. So it's not identical to the actual character, but it's close enough. Right, now we've got all that done, we're just going to get a ball stylus with a bit of white paint on, and we're just going to give him the reflections in his eyes. Bit of an anime look to this one, and yet the second one was probably a bit too big, but hey ho, we live with it. And as I said earlier about the UV resin, we do that on there, and we finish off with a little bit of resin on his tongue as well. Just gives everything that glossy look. There we go, UV light just going on there and hardening that off. And one of the finishing touches is just getting the glue and sticking them into place. And this one, guys, is done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah.